Hi, it's Andy here at Photech Video, and today in the studio we have Valeria, who is going to be our model here for this session today. Thanks for joining us today, Valeria.
You're welcome.
Don't forget to check out Valeria's Instagram account, which you can see here on the screen. In today's video, we're going to take a look at an introduction to light painting in photography in a small studio or at home. And this video is going to be in two parts. The first part will be a basic introduction to what light painting is and the equipment, the kit that we need to be able to get started in light painting in photography, and how we can use cheap light sources to be able to create these wonderfully interesting effects in our photos. And the second part, which you can link into in this link here above, will lead on to how we can use light painting without moving the lights, but by moving the camera. During the video, you'll see a number of straight out of camera images, and at the end of this video, I will add some of the edited photos from this session. Okay, so let's get into light painting in a small studio or at home on a budget and in a very simple way. I want you to be able to understand simply how light painting effects are created and how it's made possible by using long exposure shots. So let's look first of all at the equipment, the essential equipment that we will need to be able to do some light painting in our small studio. The first thing we need, of course, is a camera, and that camera ideally will have two particular features. One of them needs to be the possibility to change the shutter speed, and the other needs to be the possibility to change the aperture. Now we have our camera. The next thing we're going to need is some type of flash to be able to freeze our subject to allow us for the rest of the duration of that long exposure to move our light sources about to be able to create that light painting effect in the photo. The third thing we're going to need is some type of light source. Now your light source can be any type of light source. In fact, we'll do a short test using the flashlight or the light on the back of our mobile phone. But it can also be a torch, or if we want to spend a little bit more, we can use LED RGB tube lights as well. So we'll look at those different options during this video. Two other things which are quite important now for this particular type of photography. One is a dark background, as you can see here. Behind Valeria, there is a black backdrop. And the other important thing for light painting photography is a tripod, because we're going to be having our shutter open for about 10 seconds. And obviously, if we keep that in our hand, number one, we can't also move the lights behind our subject. And number two, obviously, it would be very, very blurred and out of focus. Bear in mind that we are in my small studio here. I have two strong LED lights which are illuminating the whole of this set so that we can see what's happening in this video. But we don't want those lights to be in our photo, and therefore for each of the examples I'm going to be turning these lights off to be able to create the desired effect. So the first thing we need to do in this case is we need to take a photo with the long exposure and the flash. Now there are two possibilities of the flash. We can use the front curtain sync, or we can use the rear curtain sync. There are two fields of thought on this. I prefer to use the front curtain sync because when I take the photo, I want our subject, I want Valeria, to be able to know when that particular photo is going to be taken. So I can count her down and say, okay, are you ready? Let's go. That will fire our flash and it will freeze Valeria so that I can go behind and move those light sources around. The other option is using the rear curtain sync, and that's more of guesswork because number one, I have to start moving the lights around and then be out of shot for when the flash fires, and the model needs to be prepared for that particular moment when the flash is going to be fired. This is the reason I prefer front curtain sync for light painting. The other thing is, in this particular example, we're not going to change to manual focus. The ideal situation is that we don't want the camera to be searching during those 10 seconds for a focus. It's not a serious problem because if we use front curtain sync, then we've already frozen our subject. And if we then get some focus searching during those 10 seconds, it should only affect the lights. So we're not going to use manual focus for this particular example, but it is another option. Okay, so as you can see, we've turned the studio lights off so that we can do these tests. So the quality of the video, which you're going to be seeing now, is less than what you could see before, because obviously the ISO value in these cameras is now higher. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to set our camera, and what we need to do first of all is to decide on our shutter speed, and I think we're going to go right down to 10 seconds. There we go, we are on 10 seconds. We're going to increase our aperture to the maximum aperture that this lens will allow us, and this particular lens will allow us to go up to f22. 10-second shutter speed with an f-stop or an aperture of f22 at 100 ISO, which is my lowest possible ISO, there is absolutely no picture. So what we're going to do now is we are going to test to see what the flash looks like with no light painting. We need to set up our flash for our model first of all. So Valeria, if you could look between this monitor that you have here and the flash more or less here, we've set our flash, which is a Neewer Q3 200 watt flash. We've set that to, let me just check, to quarter power. You can see that the softbox with a grid is set to be able to feather to create as little light spill as possible onto our background. Okay, so there are many different types of light sources that we could use to create this lighting effect behind Valeria. We're going to start with something that we all carry in our pockets, and it's our mobile phone. So let's just turn on the torch on our mobile phone, and we're going to use this to create an effect behind Valeria. So the first thing I need to do is to put this behind my back, because I don't want the light to appear in the photo until I want it to appear in the photo. So let's just make sure that everything is correct here. And are we ready, Valeria? Okay, so after 3, 1, 2, 3, and go. And there we have it. So let's have a look and see the effect that that created. And we can see that behind Valeria now we've created a wonderful pattern of thin light which is traveling behind her. And that was all done just with our mobile phone and the light on our mobile phone. Let's go one step further and let's add a piece of colored plastic to the back of our mobile phone and see how that is going to affect this light painting effect behind Valeria. So are we ready, Valeria? After 3, 1, 2, 3, and let's see the effect that that has given us now. So as you can see, we now have a wonderful red lighting effect behind Valeria. Just with something simple that we had in our pocket, which is our mobile phone with the torch on the back and a piece of red plastic. It could be blue plastic, it could be yellow, it could be whatever you want, just to create that effect. Now, it doesn't need to be your mobile phone. I have here a small adventure torch, and you can see that it has a zoom in and a zoom out. It also has different functions which are intermittent, like this one. Now we're going to do the same again, but this time we're going to use the torch in a semi-zoom and intermittent. Now again, I'm going to put this behind my back so it doesn't affect too much, but I can see it affecting a little bit on Valeria's face. So let's just set this to make sure everything is ready. Are we ready, Valeria? And after 3, 1, 2, 3, and And there we go. So let's take a look at that. A completely different look to this photo, as you can see, with the intermittent torch. Now, not only can we use the torch, but we can also use other accessories. And one other accessory that I've got is just kept over here in this special place. This accessory is called a plastic bag. This plastic bag has some yellow printing on it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom the torch out, put it on intermittent as well, and I'm going to put it inside this bag so that the torch is creating a look on the yellow. So let's give this a try as well. Are we ready, Valeria? After 3, 1, 2, 3, and... And let's take a look at that. Zoom in on there, and we can see that just by using a normal torch, an intermittent torch with a plastic bag from your supermarket, we can get an absolutely wonderful effect using light painting on long exposure. Now, until now, I've shown you things that we may have in our pocket or may have in the drawer in our house, but you may also have one of these. These are called tube lights. These are RGB LED tube lights by the company Ulanzi, and they come in different colors, and you can control the color and the intensity on them. So let's just turn this on, and we can see this one is set to blue. Now, I've set it to 10% because more than 10% would be too much, all right? So I'm going to put this behind my back as well, and let's see if we can get something which is a little more uniform behind Valeria. Are we ready, Valeria? 1, 2, 3, and... And there you go. You can see that we have an extremely interesting photo there. Valeria looking absolutely amazing in the middle of this shape behind her using this blue RGB tube light. Now, the other light is also set to 10%, and it's set to a teal orange color. So we're going to do one more, Valeria, if that's okay with you, with those. And then we're going to put the two together so you can see how combining different colored lights will also change the look. Are we ready, Valeria? After 3, 1, 2, 3. And let's have a look and see how that looks. That looks absolutely superb. So let's compare that to the blue one before. You can see that when I began the shape, that's a little bit brighter. Obviously, if you keep that behind your back until the last minute and then bring it out, you won't be able to see that intense part. So we have the orange and we have the blue. So now we have the two lights together. And let's see how those two different colored complementary lights affect each other in this light painting long exposure photo. So are we ready, Valeria? Okay, after 3, 1, 2, and 3. And let's see how that looks. And there we go. So we can see that we have completely different look in the light. I wasn't very firm in my movement there, but the idea is there. You can see then we have this purplish, bluish streak with orange around it. If we look at the previous one, it was just orange teal, and the previous one was just blue. Okay, well, there you have it. A short introduction to light painting in the studio. Low cost using a small torch and a piece of plastic, or by using maybe what you've already got in your pocket, which is the light on the back of your mobile phone. Or if you've got something like this at home, or you fancy buying something, you can use one of these as well, which is an RGB light tube, which gives a wonderful effect as well. As always, you'll find affiliate links to all the gear used in this video in the description section down below. If you do buy anything through one of my affiliate links, the price to you will be the same, but I will receive a small commission, which will help me to continue creating content for you on my channel. So all that remains for me to do is give a very big thank you to Valeria for her help here today. Absolutely superb model. Don't forget to check out her Instagram here, which you can see on the screen below. Thanks very much, Valeria. I'm sure we'll see you again in a future video.
You're welcome.
So there you have it. If you liked this video and you found it interesting, please click on the like button, subscribe to my channel, and ring on that notification bell to be notified every time a new video drops on my channel. Until the next time, this is Andy at Photech Video signing off. Take care and be safe.